Hello all and welcome back to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we make your favorite fictional characters in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today we are making Gaara of the Sand Village's youngest Kazakage, and Jinchuriki of the one-tailed beast Shikaku. Born to be a weapon of the Sand Village, Gaara had a demon spirit sealed away inside of him at birth. This led him to become an extremely powerful, but extremely fierce shinobi at a young age. Before he was 13, Gaara had survived 5 different assassination attempts orchestrated by his own father, and came out none the worse for wear. So beware of spoilers, and without further ado, let's get started. So, what do we need to make the Prince of the Desert? Well, first, we need a mother's love in the form of an absolute defense that springs to our aid without us needing to lift a finger. Next, we need to emulate Shikaku's Bloodthirst, with plenty of methods to immobilize foes and neutralize them in a single blow. And finally, we need a Kage's dedication, able to bend his ultimate power to not just destroy our foes, but also protect those who we care about. Gaara may have a monster sealed inside him, but he is still a human, and that means a boost to charisma and constitution, and a 25-foot movement speed. We will, however, pick up the Oread heritage to reflect Shikaku's influence on our life, which right now just means that we have low light vision, but later on we can pick up all sorts of Earth-related abilities. Eidolon Contact makes a pretty good representation for our relationship with Shikaku. This background gives us another boost to Constitution and Wisdom. I don't know what classification the tailed beasts fall under, but I'm going to say occultism for knowing sealing jutsu and Eidolon lore. And finally, this background gives us the dubious knowledge skill feat, so that we can know the number of tails on a tailed beast directly correlates to its power level. To create Gaara, we are making a kineticist, surprising no one. As a kineticist, we get training in perception and will saves. Makes sense, as most of our willpower is dedicated to holding back the murderous beast inside of us. At least, through most of the early show. We get expert in fortitude and reflex saves to both avoid the assassination attempts and survive them when they get a little too close. For skills, we pick up training in nature +3 plus our intelligence modifier. Finally, Gaara's shinobi upbringing is reflected in training with all simple weapons and light armor, ensuring he's well equipped to handle both offense and defense. For Gaara's attributes, we'll start with a +0 in both strength and dexterity. His fighting style relies on standing still and letting his sand handle the work. Constitution is at a solid +4, representing his mother's protective sand, his sand armor, and his ability to encase himself in a spiked sand dune, making him one of the hardest Naruto characters to take down. Intelligence is at a +1, not a super genius, but definitely capable of solid tactical thinking. Wisdom and charisma both come in at a +2, as Gaara can read people deeply with just a glance, and his presence was enough to terrify an entire village, even as a child. For our skills, despite Gaara being one of the most powerful and well-rounded characters in the show, he doesn't demonstrate exceptional aptitude in many traditional skills. As a result, this is the first build here on the channel that doesn't achieve legendary proficiency in any skills. However, we do reach master proficiency in acrobatics for Gaara's invasive footwork when under pressure, as well as both diplomacy and intimidation, 2 distinct ways to lead a sand village, reflecting different stages of Gaara's character growth. We also obtain expert proficiency in athletics, deception, stealth, and thievery, otherwise known as your basic shinobi starter pack. And finally, we pick up training in arcana, nature, and occultism for mastering jutsu, survival for thriving in the inhospitable desert, and society, because it's hard to lead your people if you don't know anything about them. Alright, now that you've reached level 1, you're legally obligated to like and comment on this video, and subscribe to the channel. Sorry, I don't make the rules. At level 1, kineticists must choose a kinetic gate, and the Earth Gate fits perfectly with Gaara's ability. By choosing a single gate instead of a dual gate, we gain the Earth Gate Junction, which causes the Earth, our sand in our case, to spring to our defense whenever we use an Earth Impulse requiring 2 or more actions, granting us a +1 circumstance bonus to our AC. We start with 2 base impulses, plus 2 more from our chosen gate. Basic Kinesis allows us to perform small tricks with the Earth, while Elemental Blast lets us deliver damage with variable action costs. From the Earth Gate, we take Tremor, which uses our sand to attack a 10-foot burst area, dealing damage, potentially knocking foes prone, and slowing creatures caught in our area until our next turn. Armor and Earth serves as our sand armor, providing a +4 bonus to our AC at the cost of some movement speed. A small price to pay since Gaara's fighting style usually keeps him stationary anyway. For our class feat at level 1, we will take Elemental Familiar, which typically allows you to summon a small, cute elemental companion. However, in Gaara's case, we'll flavor it as a flying sand eye that he can use for reconnaissance with the flyer and share sensibilities, allowing Gaara to scout areas and monitor enemies from a distance. We also take natural ambition as our ancestry feat, giving us an additional class feat. With this, we select weapon infusion, enabling us to mold our elemental blast into any weapon we can imagine. Gaara often creates a sand spear for attacks, but this feat allows for endless creativity. At level 2, we take the Living Vessel dedication, representing Shikaku, the One Tail, taking control when Gaara is in dire straits. This dedication grants us Entity's Resurgence, which allows us to stay in the fight even after being reduced to 0 hit points. Instead of falling unconscious, we rise back up with 1 hit point, and temporary hit points equal to our Constitution modifier, plus our level. During this time, Shikaku takes over, granting us a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls. However, there's a catch. You lose control of your character for up to 1 minute, or until you fall unconscious again. While the rules state that the entity usually won't attack your allies, I wouldn't put too much faith in that word usually. We also pick up Intimidating Glare, allowing us to frighten foes with just the look. This feat perfectly captures Gaara's ability to terrify his entire village, even when he was desperately trying to connect with them and earn their trust. At level 3, we take Incredible Initiative. Gaara's sand is always prepared to shield him, even against unseen dangers, so this feat helps us reflect that readiness by giving a +2 bonus to our initiative rolls, ensuring we act almost as quickly as our defensive sand. We also get Will Expertise at this level, boosting our Fortitude saves to Master, and Extract Elements, letting us absorb the sand from earthen foes, damaging them, and giving us a weapon to use against them in the future. At level 4, we unlock Entity's Strike, marking our first Tailed Beast transformation. This allows us to temporarily transform an arm into Shikaku's, delivering a devastating attack that deals D6's damage. We also pick up Quick Coercion, letting us intimidate foes into submission with just 1 round of conversation, rather than a full minute. At level 5, we gain the Treacherous Earth Ancestry feat, allowing us to transform the ground around us into a sand whirlpool, creating difficult terrain in 5-foot bursts once every 10 minutes. Additionally, we expand our Earth Portal, acquiring the Calcifying Sand Impulse, which gives us both resistance to attacks and slows foes by hardening the sand around them. Our Earth Blasts also receive a significant upgrade, unlocking the Critical Blast effect, enabling us to knock opponents prone or force them to descend 20 feet if airborne. At level 6, we harness Shikaku's Chakra Pool with the Tap Vitality feat, significantly enhancing our longevity by allowing us to recover hit points equal to 4 times our level with a single action. Additionally, we pick up Terrifying Resistance, granting us a defensive boost against foes we have successfully demoralized, making our intimidation tactics even more effective in combat. At level 10, we enhance our survivability with the Toughness General feat, gaining extra hit points equal to our level. We also pick up Kinetic Durability, improving our Fortitude saves to Master and turning regular successes into critical successes. Additionally, Kinetic Expertise boosts our class CC to Expert, increasing our effectiveness with Kineticist abilities. At level 8, we gain the Sand Snatcher class feat, allowing us to use sand-based jutsu like creating a sand clone for flanking or performing a sand coffin to grapple foes. We also pick up No Cause for Alarm, letting us quell the fear of everyone around us, ensuring that we don't unintentionally frighten allies or those we wish to protect when we appear. At level 8, we pick up the Steady and Stone, allowing us to ignore difficult terrain created by earthen substances with our sand's help, enhancing our mobility. We also expand our Earth Portal, unlocking the Spike Skins feat, which serves both offensively and defensively. This feat grants us resistance to incoming attacks, while also dealing damage to any foe foolish enough to attack us directly as they encounter the spikes of our sand armor. Expanding the Earth Portal further grants us Aura Junction, allowing us to create difficult terrain around us, enhancing our ability to control the battlefield. We also gain Perception Expertise, boosting our Thievery skill to Legendary Proficiency. At level 10, we take the Investigator dedication, which fits well with Gaara's strategic mind. This dedication provides the Pursue a Lead, On the Case, and Clue-In features, allowing us to identify vulnerabilities in our enemy's armor and exploit them effectively. We also pick up Slippery Prey, showcasing Gaara's evasive skills and ability to avoid being grabbed. At level 11, we get the Fleet feat, granting us 5 extra feet of movement. Gaara may mostly stand in place, but he knows how to Naruto run when the time comes. We also gain Weapon Expertise, which boosts our Perception proficiency. Kinetic Quickness enhances our reflex saves, providing greater defense against incoming attacks. Lastly, Reflow Elements allows Gaara to adapt and learn new sand-based jutsu at the cost of previously mastered ones, giving him flexibility in how he approaches combat. At level 12, we pick up Skill Mastery, reflecting Gaara's well-rounded ninja training. This feat grants us a skill increase to acrobatics and intimidation, further enhancing his evasive abilities and his reputation as a terrifying figure. Additionally, Skill Mastery allows us to take both Catfall and Fleeing Diversion skill feats at the same time. Catfall ensures that Gaara can fall from great heights without taking damage, a useful skill given his sand manipulation and agility. Fleeing Diversion lets him quickly escape danger, using his sand to create a diversion that allows him to slip away unnoticed. At level 13, we pick up the Shiathan Skin Ancestry feat, enhancing Gaara's sand armor further. This feat allows him to cast Stone Skin on himself up to 3 times per day as a 4th level spell, granting him additional protection. This boosts his defense, reflecting his ability to turn his sand into a nearly indestructible barrier. We also expand our Earth Portal for the penultimate time, unlocking the Weight of the Stone Impulse, which allows us to burden our enemies with crushing sand. We gain Earthen Resistances, bolstering our ability to shrug off damage by channeling the defensive strength of the Earth. Additionally, Light Armor Expertise enhances our AC, while Weapon Specialization increases the damage of our weapon attacks, solidifying both our offensive and defensive capabilities. At level 14, Masterful Spotter enhances our perception proficiency to Master, sharpening Gaara's ability to notice threats and details, benefiting his tactical acumen. Meanwhile, the Terrified Retreat skill feat amplifies his intimidating presence, allowing him to send lower-level enemies fleeing in fear. At level 15, Kineticists enhance their chakra control with Combat Climber skill feat, enabling Gaara to transverse vertical surfaces effortlessly while keeping a hand free. Greater Kinetic Durability boosts Fortitude saves to Legendary, while Kinetic Master improves the potency of his sand-based jutsu, further solidifying his dominance on the battlefield. At level 16, Gaara can fully embrace the power of his inner Jinchura Ki with the Vessel form feat. Once per day, he transforms into his tailed beast form, becoming large, which increases his reach and enhances his entity strike damage from D6s to D8s. This formidable transformation also grants 40 temporary hit points and a fly speed equal to his land speed. Meanwhile, the Rapid Mantle skill feat allows us to use a reaction to pull ourselves onto a ledge, rather than an action whenever we grab on an edge. At level 17, Gaara completes his Jinchura Ki transformation with the Stone Form Ancestry feat, granting him the ability to cast Elemental Form to transform into an even larger, more imposing Earth Elemental. This dramatic shift symbolizes the full integration of his sand powers and his bond to Shikaku. Additionally, Gaara reaches the final gate threshold for this build. Instead of expanding the Earth Portal further, he forks the path to incorporate his father's gold dust along with his mother's sand, unlocking metal impulses. With the Magnetic Pinions impulse feat, he taps into Magnetic Release, wielding both sand and gold dust for devastating and versatile battle control. At level 18, Gaara cements his status as the ultimate battlefield controller with the Shattered Mountain Weeps impulse feat. This devastating ability allows him to unleash a powerful sand and earth-based attack that damages everything within a 20-foot burst, knocks foes prone, and transforms the entire area into difficult terrain. This reflects Gaara's overwhelming power to dominate any battlefield with a single overwhelming technique. Additionally, the Battle Cry skill feat enhances his intimidating presence by letting him demoralize a foe as a free action at the start of combat, showing his ability to strike fear into his enemies before they even engage. At level 19, Gaara's control and teamwork reach unparalleled heights. The Tumbling Teamwork General feat allows him to use his agility to assist his allies strategically. Each successful tumble-through attempt creates an opportunity for his allies to take a reaction step, enhancing their battlefield positioning. Additionally, the Final Gate feature transforms gathering elements into a free action at the start of his turn, significantly increasing his efficiency and fluidity of his abilities. Kinetic Legend boosts his Class DC and attack proficiency to Legendary, showcasing his mastery over his sand-based techniques. Finally, Light Armor Mastery increases his reflex saves to Expert. And if you're lucky enough to guide Gaara to 20th level, he ascends to the pinnacle of Kinetic Mastery. The Kinetic Pinnacle class feat makes him permanently quickened, granting him an extra action every round that can be used to gather elements or unleash one action impulse, ensuring his dominance on the battlefield. And the Kip Up skill feat complements his unyielding resilience, allowing his sand to immediately pick him back up whenever he falls, ensuring he remains steadfast and unshaken, ready to continue his assault or defense without losing momentum. Alright, now that we are finished with the build, let's take a look at the pros and cons. This build excels at battlefield control, with many different ways to knock foes prone, grapple them, and create large paths of difficult terrain. Enemies are going to have a hard time getting where they want. Next, Gaara is credited with having an absolute defense for a good reason. With stony form, armor and stone, and several different ways to get temporary hit points, getting us to 0 HP is definitely a chore. And finally, with almost no resources to speak of, all of our best combos can be repeated again and again with no fear of running out of spell slots. For cons though, most of our impulses do a bit of damage while accomplishing some other task. That means when we just want to deal damage, we may fall behind when compared to a more damage per shot heavy build. Next, our transformations are flashy, but with the lack of martial progression beyond expert, they really can start to feel like they lack offensive potency. And finally, our fighting style relies heavily on standing in place, with feats like Armor and Earth actively tanking our mobility. This is especially bad when you consider that you exist in a Naruto universe where extreme mobility is par for the course. All in all, this build works for a great battlefield controller who can stand in the middle of a battlefield surveying anything enemies have to throw your way before being pushed into releasing your offensive prowess. Just make sure your allies know when to stay clear of your battlefield destroying moves and you should be fine. Thank you guys so much for watching our build. Happy New Year, by the way. This is our first build of 2025. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment below so that you can be informed of when our next videos post.